Hello and welcome back to the track. In today's video, we're gonna talk about why Cadillac might actually be a much stronger team than most people are giving them credit for. But before we get to lights out, make sure you guys like the video, comment down below who you think is gonna be the better driver at Cadillac between Checo and Bottas. I really wanna know what you guys think. And away we go. To make this simple, we'll break this down into 3 parts: the team, the car, and the drivers. I think there's a lot of people who are overlooking some things that are actually very important if we're trying to understand how strong this team could be. And most of it starts with the team itself. Checo came out and said that they're not gonna win the championship, but they do wanna make progress and beat other teams. And that's a bold thing to say when you have teams like Audi who don't consider themselves to be competitive until like 2030. But for Cadillac, most people are expecting them to be last. They sound pretty confident to do at least better than last, but it's important to clarify that Cadillac isn't taking over an existing team. This isn't any rebrand, this is their own project, this is their baby. And Checo's being reunited with an old racing engineer from his days at Force India and Racing Point. During that era, Checo was doing absolutely crazy. Multiple podiums, consistent results, and this was only a peek into what Checo was truly capable of. Then Cadillac signed Zhou Guanyu as a reserve driver. Here's a key detail. Zhou was a Ferrari reserve driver before this. Early on, Ferrari used Zhou to test the 2026 car in the simulator, so that means that Cadillac now have a driver feeding them information who already understands the Ferrari systems, their process, and their hardware. And guess what Cadillac are running? Ferrari engines, Ferrari transmissions. So you see the theme here? The feedback loop here is strong. Feedback. It's not just about the experienced drivers. A lot of drivers have F1 driver experience. Just look at Latifi. That doesn't mean anything. But what Zhou brings to the table is relevant experience. And here's where it gets even more interesting. What is exactly Cadillac's goal? Checo said they're not going to win the championship, but he didn't say we're here to finish last either. So they're making strong statements. I actually think the expectations internally are way higher than people are realizing. Cadillac have a massive advantage that other teams don't have. They were born during the cost cap era. They didn't have to adjust. They didn't have to scramble to make things work in a different way. They didn't have to downsize or restructure. From day one, they were operating under the same financial rules as everyone else. This is what the FIA meant by fairness, I think. And if that's the case, then great, because a lot of teams suffer from this and the playing field was never leveled, so the midfield teams never really had a chance to show up with anything. But now that's not the case. Cadillac, we are starting from zero, just like everyone else. Now let's talk about the car. Here's the thing. With a brand new team, it's not always about how good you are. Sometimes it's about how bad the other teams mess up. Max Verstappen said this last year when it was him versus McLaren. They weren't necessarily getting better. They were just benefiting from a lot of the mistakes that McLaren were making at the time. And that might be a reoccurring theme here. We have new engines, new concepts, a lot of unknowns when it comes to reliability, which is gonna be huge in this year. Cadillac are running the Ferrari engine, and so far we've seen that to be pretty stable. So if they hit the jackpot with a reliable engine while other teams struggle, that alone can move them up the order. And if the Mercedes power unit ends up getting banned after like 6 races or whatever, then that's not only gonna make Mercedes struggle, but every other customer team will too. And those teams are gonna have to pivot, they're gonna scramble, they're gonna lose momentum if they have any at that point. And that's when that experience from Cadillac is really going to catapult them up the ladder. Cadillac here is chasing stability, which is why they chose 2 powerhouses as their drivers. With a brand new team, that can be a powerful combination. And that brings me to the drivers. Cadillac didn't go safe. They want to make a splash, and a cannonball splash is what they got because they went all in. Let's start with Checo. Man's a legend. Joined in 2010, consistently got podiums out of cars that really had no business being on podiums with Force India and Racing Point, and even a win before he even touched a Red Bull. He's insane at defending, he's aggressive as hell when it comes to attacking, and he's the undisputed king of the street circus. Most of his wins are all on street circuits. No fear, this man has no regard for his safety, and you guys know what Checo means in Spanish. If not, then look it up. Just kidding, don't look it up. And let's also add the new street race from Spain this year. I think he's gonna be crazy in that one. Red Bull might have been done with him, but Checo was not done with F1, and he is angry and hungry for more success. Now let's talk about Valtteri, the man, the myth, the legend, often imitated, never duplicated, Bottas. There's really one thing that I can say about Bottas that will shock a lot of people, and that is the fact that in 2014 he scored 6 podiums with Williams. 6 in a Williams. And yes, granted that year, the reliability from every other engine wasn't great, but podium's a podium. But what always bothered me was how Mercedes treated him, because he was fast. Felt like he never truly got to run free. 2017, 18, and 20, there were a bunch of incidents where clearly Mercedes favored Lewis over him, and they always used the same excuse of it was the better position, our constructors, whatever. Bullshit excuse. Here's the common thread. Neither of them were done with F1. Both of them consistently put the team first because they wanted to, because they needed to. We'll never really know. Maybe their job was on the line if they didn't do what the teams wanted. We'll never know the answer to that. Being the number 2 driver to Lewis and Max comes with, I can't even begin to imagine the kind of pressure that comes with. Now imagine both of those drivers in a team where they're equal, no leash, no politics, there's no golden boy rule. That makes for 2 dangerous drivers, if you ask me. And so when you look at all of that, they're not as disadvantaged as most people thought they were. A proven motorsport organization born under the cost cap, a stable power unit, a solid team structure, and 2 extremely hungry drivers. Between Checo and Bottas, you're looking at 26 combined seasons of experience, 16 wins, 106 podiums, and 22 pole positions. Those are really impressive stats for a brand new team to have off rip. So them finishing 10th or 11th would probably be underselling them. This season may not be about how good they are. It might be about how much everybody else messes up. And if that chaos does hit, Cadillac are one of the teams who are equipped to really capitalize on that. It'd be crazy to think that they could get anything better than like 9th in the constructors, but what if they do better? Let me know what you guys think. Are we underestimating them or are we overestimating them? We're gonna find out comes Melbourne, but I want to know what you guys think before that happens. Until then, make sure you guys like the video, comment down below if you think I'm full of shit again, or if I'm really on to something, let me know. Till the next one, I gotta work on my outros.